This week's video is a continuation of the video that we put out last week. In last week's video, I was talking to you about how your wellness journey needs to be fluid and how it has to change as you and your situation changes. But different stages of your life and at different times in your life, your body is going to need different things from you. That's just simple, just how it goes. We talked about that in last week's video. If you didn't see it, go back. Today's video, I want to talk to you about you can have a wellness journey that you've put into place, but unless you have your environment that is around you, unless it is built to support you and to support those changes, then it is not going to matter because you can ultimately be slowly self-sabotaging yourself and be thinking, I'm doing all the right things, I've got this dialed in, and why isn't it just working? It isn't about motivation, my friend. This video today is about environmental changes that you need to make to support those lasting habits that you created or that you're going to be create to move your wellness in the forward direction. I've got my notes. Let's get started. If you're like most of the women that I talk to, myself included, high achieving, professional, you don't need another planner. You don't need another routine. And you don't need another person telling you just be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. Consistency, yes, we do need it. But what you need above and beyond any of those things is to have an environment that is set up to support you so that you can achieve all the things that you want to, and it's supporting the body that you want to be living in. And once you understand this mindset shift, this way of thinking, then the habit changes that you are making are going to feel like more alignment, not beating yourself up, not more like I just need more self-control. So there's a couple areas that I want to talk to you today about environmental change, where you can put it in place and how you can go about doing that. The first one is that I want you to know this. Lasting habit change isn't about motivation. It's about changing your environment because your environment can be your problem. Because we were taught to believe as high-performing women that if we fail at our habits, it's because we just didn't try hard enough. We just didn't want it badly enough. And that is so wrong because that's not how our womanly biology works. Our biology works completely differently. Our nervous system, your hormones, they are constantly talking to you and they are responding to cues in your environment every single day, every hour, every month, all the time. And we need to pick up on those cues and we need to help support them. Your nervous system and your hormones are constantly responding to what you see in your environment, what feels overwhelming, what feels easy, what feels stressful. It's going to respond to any of those feelings that you're having. Your environment is sending instructions to your body all day long on a continual basis. So we need to set up our environment for support. Right now, especially online, we're seeing a lot of these trends. At least I am. I don't know about you, if you're seeing out these. And we're seeing a trend more towards just easing into things, away from rigid routines, away from, influencer lifestyles, because we lead full lives and we're not influencers. We need much more support in other areas in order for us to be able to accomplish all the things that we want to do because we have a full life. We're not sitting on a beach. We're not drinking juleps all day long, just having coffee conversations with our girlfriends. We're actually building businesses. We're raising families. We're, elevating careers. And all of that takes energy. Either our environment is going to support that energy or our environment is going to drain it and it's going to sabotage the good efforts that we're putting into it. So the first area that I want you to look at changing or look at your environment around is your kitchen. Got my notes here. And the reason for that is because our hormones and your nervous system, they want balance. They want sustainability. So you want your nutrition to sustain you. And the other thing too is that we are very visual people. We visually look at something and it gives us cues as to what we're going to do. If you want to eat better and if you want to balance your hormones better, or you want to lose weight sustainably, or you want to improve your energy, then your kitchen is one of the most powerful hormone shaping environments that you have. And so here's something that I want you to understand that's really important. Your brain doesn't make food choices based on intention. It makes them based exactly on visibility effort. So here's the example. If the first thing you see when you walk into your kitchen is on your countertop is snacks, cookies, all of the junk food, bags of potato chips, whatever, then your mind is automatically going to gravitate towards that. It's not that you're weak and that you give in. It's what's visible to the eye is what your eye is going to be drawn to, and it's going to give your brain a dopamine hit. Okay, because the brains are always wanting a dopamine hit. That's that feel goodness in our bodies. So it's going to always be searching for that. If you want better control over that, what you need to do is replace all that stuff on your counter with visually healthy stuff, right? Put the fruit bowl out in your refrigerator. Put your carrots, cut up cucumbers, your celery, whatever it is that's healthy, and move it to the forefront, and then push the other stuff to the back. So the stuff that you want to be eating 80% of the time needs to be at eye level, and it needs to be accessible. The stuff that's 20%, put it in the back so that your eye is not gravitating initially to that. It's going to gravitate towards the good stuff. That's the first thing that you can do. Because when you stabilize your nutrition and you have good nutrition all throughout the day, you are stabilizing cortisol swings. So you're balancing it out. You're going to have energy throughout your day that's balanced. And that's what we're aiming for here. The other thing, too, that I want you to look at is with your kitchen appliances. Now, I know online and on Pinterest and everywhere, we always see these very aesthetic looking kitchens. Everything is beautiful. Nothing's on the countertop. It's pristine. It's clean. But you know what? That's not good for balancing our hormones. We want to put out the appliances that we need to use every single day to get us to where we want to go. So put out your blender, put out your slow cooker, put out your pressure cooker, whatever that you are going to be using on an ongoing basis. You want to have it visible because, again, it's a visual cue that nutrition is sustainable and that you can do it. And if you're a busy woman, then you want to have these things out where you can readily get them. I mean, who wants to go under cabinets and fumble and try to find things when we're in a hurry or we're trying to get things done? Same thing I want you to think about with exercise, because I always talk about movement, and consistent movement, that is, lowers your cortisol, improves mood, improves hormone stabilization, helps your thyroid, helps with everything. But again, we're saying consistent, right? And sometimes on those low motivational days, consistency is not something that we're going to readily strive for, right? So with movement, with exercise, here's what I want you to do to help yourself. If you're a morning person and you don't have to rush into the office or get to your job or wherever you're going, and you can exercise in the morning, then the first thing I want you to do is get dressed in your workout clothes. It signals to your body, we're ready to go. We're going to go to the gym. If you work out at lunchtime or you happen to be a woman who has to work out after you get off from work, then have your gym bag by the front door. Have your workout clothes in the back. Put it on the front seat of your car. Again, looping back to visual cues are where things matter. When we see things, it reminds us. You know the old saying, out of sight, out of mind. So true with all of these things in our environment. We're trying to set up our environment to support us with visual cues so that we can ease into the things that we need to do. So we talked about movement. We don't need to be like running and doing the hit things all the time, but we need to be consistent with it. And consistency starts by setting up our environment for success. Now, the next thing that I want to talk to you about is your workspace. Because you see, believe it or not, your nervous system and your hormones, they respond to your workspace and to your environment all day long as well. So here's the thing. When your brain sees clutter in your workspace, papers everywhere, astrew, what does it signal? It signals stress. And that stress increases your cortisol. And when you have increased cortisol, it depletes your energy. So we want to have a calming environment. Like here in my office, I've got my essential oil over here and it's going so I can smell really great things that I like. I've got my little mantra cards that I keep all over my office, stickers on my computer that remind me to be happy. I look out my window, I see bright sunlight, I see the birds, I see the snow when it falls. I clear up the clutter on my desk. Because when I come into my office and I start seeing a bunch of paper all over the place, my mind is already going like, oh my gosh, I have to attend to all these things. And there goes my stress level right out the door. It doesn't matter what my motivation is. The brain and the nervous system sees clutter. So declutter as much as you can. Keep the essentials on your workspace, in your work desk, or wherever you need to be. So that's your work area. Now, moving into self-care, taking care of your hygiene and all that good stuff. And I know, because I talk to tons of women, that we don't, not want to do self-care because we don't think it's important. The problem with doing self-care sometimes is because it becomes hidden like everything else. When those appliances, like I was talking about, are underneath the cabinet and we don't see them, then we just say, what am I going to do? I'm going to run to the grocery store. I'm just going to buy some fast food instead of preparing the day and having our crock pot out and doing that. Same thing happens with our self-care. What I want you to do is put the things that you do and that you need to use every day on your counter. It doesn't have to be messy. Get one of those cosmetic organizers and put your stuff in there, your lotions, your toothbrush, your floss, your whatever you're going to use for that day or that night. Have it readily neat on your countertop because then you visually see it. We tend to forget because, oh, the dental floss is in the drawer or, whatever is underneath the sink and we just tend not to use it. The sunscreen's under the sink. So we visually, because we're busy, we just don't remember. We forget. It's easy to forget, right? So putting things out and giving them a visual cue helps us to make things easier, lowers the barrier, lowers the stress, helps our cortisol, helps our hormones, and we can have a much better day. We talked about our kitchen. We talked about how to get our exercise and everything going with that. We talked about our self-care, how to get that up. Because, like I said earlier, lasting change, my friend, happens when your environment removes friction, when it supports your hormones and it makes the right choices the easiest one without relying on constant motivation. Because motivation, it's great. I have a lot of motivation, but on those low energy days, my motivation can go out the door very easily. And I see it all the time in my clients. So here's why this matters as you're leveling up. As our lives get fuller, which they tend to just automatically do, especially as you move into different seasons in your life, as you have more responsibility, as you take on more leadership roles, as your life has more demands on it, your body needs more support. It needs more support, not pressure. And when we set up things ahead of time, then we're taking away that pressure and we move more into alignment. And the best part is once your alignment and once your environment is set up, it does all the work for you because you just automatically go into it. It doesn't take a lot of preparation. Life becomes so much easier. No more hustle, no more perfection, just alignment. So if this conversation resonated with you, I want you to pause and I want you to ask yourself this question. What is one thing that I can do this week that can help me set up my environment to better support my success? That's it. One simple thing. Can you do something in the kitchen area? Can you do something in your workout in your movement area? Can you do something in your morning or afternoon or evening routine with your self-care? Look at those different areas and ask yourself, like I said, this one question this week, what is one area of my environment that I can set up better to help me support the goals that I'm trying to achieve? That's it. Simple. All right. There you have it. If you loved this episode, please subscribe so that you get all of our episodes. If you found it helpful, please share it with a girlfriend. Let her know that, hey, let's set up your environment. Let's get it going. Watch last week's episode so that you know exactly where we're coming from with this, because this is the flip side of trying to get your wellness routine up to par. And we will see you next week. And like I always say, ladies, may God richly bless your life and bye for now.